Hi, Marina. So I'm in a sample course here, and I'm looking at tests, surveys, and pools. So if you go down to your control panel, course tools, open up tests, surveys, and pools, and then you go to, let's start at tests. So here it should show you all that long list of tests that you imported into the class, right? And it'll probably say no here because yours probably aren't deployed yet. But the thing is that the questions that are inside of the test, if we go like into this one and we say edit, so if you open up a test here, you can see that these questions are all linked. So these questions actually live in a linked, live somewhere else in my class. They don't live inside of this question. It's got this link icon here, meaning that this quiz is just pointing to questions that live somewhere else in a different test or in a pool, right? So that's one thing that you would check is to find out if your questions live inside the test. Let's see if I can find one or inside a pool. Now this one is also linking out to a different location. Let's see. Um, So what I'm going to suggest that you do, so let's say you have questions that you want, but you don't want them to be in tests that then create grade center columns. I'm going to recommend that you use pools. So this is where those questions actually lived that were in my test, right? They all lived in the question database. So it's better to have your pools house all the questions, and then your tests can just point to the questions in the pool. The benefit there is that then the pool doesn't create a grade center column or anything. The pools are simply a way to organize your questions. So you could say build pool, and we could just call this, publisher import, whatever, chapter 1 questions. Okay, it's only going to ask me for the name of my pool. You can call it whatever you want. So I've created a pool, and now it's asking me where I want, which questions I want to add to the pool. This shouldn't say this test has no questions. This is a pool. So which questions do you want to add to your pool? You're going to say find questions, and then you can go out and pull the questions by test. We can say, I want all the questions in my Jumpstart quiz, let's say. Well, we'll do module 1. So here's where you're actually making a copy of all the questions that are in the tests and putting them into pools. Oops. So we need to actually find something, all pools, module 1. There we go. So let's take all of these. And what I'm doing is now creating a copy of all of these questions in my chapter 1 questions pool. So now I've got, 25 questions in here. And this is kind of like a safe way of saving them off. And I'm going to hit my OK button at the bottom, which takes me back to here. So now I've got this. I've made a copy. There's 25 questions in here that didn't exist before, right? So this could be how you you save off all the questions that you want to use in your own, whatever you want to name them, pools. And then you can go to your tests, test surveys and pools, tests. Once you've saved off all the questions that you want to use, you can delete the tests that were imported from the publisher import. So you can just go through and delete the ones that you don't want. Unfortunately, I don't know of a way to do all of these. You're going to have to go through each of those and do delete, delete, delete. And you can then you'd build your own so then once you have all these deleted, then you'd go to the grade center, and the columns that were created for you in the grade center should then have a delete option at the very bottom of that list, right? So if you go into the columns for your tests, let's say, mine won't show me delete because my tests are all still here. So none of these have a delete option. But once, if I were to delete these quizzes, then the last option at the bottom of this list would say delete, because then these would become like orphan columns that don't have a test associated with them. That's when you can delete it. So that would be the next step. And then you can go in and in your own tests. So then you go back to test surveys and pools. You've got your questions that you want in pools. You can create the tests that you want pulling from those questions, and that would be with your build test. Okay, as soon as you do that, then assign points and then you'd be creating the columns that you want for your own tests. Hope that helps. Let me know if you need more on that process.